In this video, I'm going to tell you why, despite only having 2 wheels and a bicycle bell and no motor in sight, you should get Descenders right away. Go and get it, go and buy it, don't watch this video, go and buy it, it's amazing. Okay, so Descenders, as you can see, and as we said in the intro, is a 2-wheel, no motor, mountain bike game. It's kind of a simulator, but it's more arcadey than simulator, but accidentally ends up being more realistic than some of the top-end bicycle simulators just because it feels so natural to play. Anyway, we're going to start doing some single player, and I'm going to start by explaining why talking about the physics and the handling and why they're so good, and then I'll explain how the single player works. And did I say? You should just buy this. Don't watch this video. Just go and buy the game. It's bloody amazing. So let's start the single player and let's talk about the physics and handling in this game. So, loading, build the trail. I like building trails. Right, off we go. First trail. We've got to finish this without letting go of the accelerator. I could do that. So with this, you basically, in terms of controls, you could do a bunny hop or an ollie. I don't know what you call it on a mountain bike, using the right analog stick, and that just does your little jump and your lifts. And that also can be used to cushion your landings. You can lean left and right to go around corners, your basic steering. You can do mid-air backflips and front flips. You can lean into corners and throw the back of the bike out to do like a sort of rear skid, which is what you can do on a real bike, and it's really satisfying. Let's take a shortcut there. Land it sideways. Okay, we're off trail here, off piste. Don't worry about that, it's not a problem. You can lean forwards and backwards. You can do grabs over the handlebars. You can do what you generally expect to be able to do on a motorbike or on a bicycle, and what you'd expect to be able to do in real life, but also what you'd be able to expect to do in most sports games in terms of what would actually be fun. The handling in this is absolutely superb. Now, you'll notice that we were driving or riding in first person there. Don't worry, you don't have to be as hardcore as me. You can go to third person for this sort of proper arcade experience, which does give you more visibility, but you lose that raw immersion of the first person view. But the closest thing I can equate this game to, in terms of the actual handling and movement and player control, is the original Motocross Madness games. So if you were a big fan of them and you've been wondering for the past 300 years, or you've been wanting for the past 300 years to play something that captures the essence of those games, well, get this right away. Did I say get this? I think I said get this right away. You need to get this because it's the closest thing to those games. But obviously it's got better graphics and actually has more depth in the physics and more nuance to what you can do. Absolutely superb and really compelling player control, physics and movement. Incidentally, the story as to why I started playing this game again was because I got Steep on Uplay because Ubisoft were doing a free Steep thing. I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. And it looks absolutely amazing. The graphics in Steep are incredible. I can't believe the graphics. As an oldie, it looks amazing. But the physics and game design and player movement in Steep just put me into a vegetative state of depression. So after about 20 minutes of playing it, I closed it down and I had to go searching for a proper game involving slopes and high speed. And it turned out I had this in my Steam library from the early access. This game actually came out in 2018, out of early access. And oh my God, I'm so glad. I'm glad that Steep made me depressed enough to look for a proper game, and that we actually found this, because its mechanics are absolutely awesome. You find yourself in this that you just keep wanting to play it and get better at it. It does take like an hour or so to initially get used to the physics and the way it operates. But after that, once you've got past that initial learning curve, it all actually comes together and flows really nicely. With it being one of the few games where I played it initially for like an hour, 2 hours, got a little bit frustrated, but then was like, you know what, I'll give it another go. And then I played it for like 3 hours, and then I turned it off. And then the next day I was like, oh, you know what, I really feel like playing playing Descenders again. So I loaded it up, and it's been like that for the past week or so. I just keep loading it up to have a quick bash on it and get better at it and just enjoy landing awesome jumps. So that's enough positivity about the handling, which is amazing and probably the most important part of a sports game. What happened to sports games? I think Skate 3 was probably the last decent one. I mean, I was a huge fan of Tony Hawk's, Motocross Madness, but since then they've all been rubbish apart from this. Anyway, so in terms of the single player, and another aspect of this which is absolutely fantastic, and the general design of this which is absolutely fantastic, is that it uses a roguelike system for the single player. And what that means is every time you play is slightly different. The stages are procedurally generated and different every time you load it. But you have these chapters, or sort of these 4 main themed world environments that you have to progress through. You have to do a boss stage on, and then you can go to the next one. As you can see here, we've just done 2 stages and we're about to start the 3rd stage. But as you play through the stages, what you're trying to do is basically build up lives. You see in the top left hand corner are our lives. You're trying to build them up so that when you get to the boss stage, you have enough lives to be able to complete it. Because the boss stages are bloody hard, you're probably going to die at least 3 or 4 times. So the motivation is to do the stages beforehand, the individual stages, build as many lives as possible. Also, you get to unlock some perks and stuff. If you do jumps and things, you build up these crew member perks that you can add to make the boss stage easier. It's a really superb design, because what it ends up doing is it allows the game to capture the essence of real-world mountain biking, in the sense that if you go slightly off the trail, no one's going to say anything. It doesn't really matter. The game doesn't artificially go, oh no, you've gone off the trail, we're going to put you back on the track, or we're just going to push you off the bike and there goes a life. It's really quite chilled out and makes it a lot more forgiving than it would be if they had an artificial thing going, oh, go back to the track, or, you know... It's kind of optional to stay on the trail. Your motivation to stay on the trail is to get more jumps, to get more crew members, and make it easy to do the boss stage, but also to achieve the task in the top right hand corner to get more lives at the end of the stages, to then be able to progress through the boss stage and complete the game. It's a really good hands-off approach that really mitigates the frustration that's often found in these types of sports physics games that initially can have quite a steep learning curve. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, you can literally just totally abandon the stage and just go to the finish line. There's no worries in that. You might hit some of the rocks that are hidden on the floor, so you do have to watch out for that. And you might also struggle to find the finish line. It's over there. So there are risks with going off the stage, but sometimes going off the stage is the right thing to do. The game doesn't force you. Let's try and land this. Whoop! There we go. So we finished the track there. We do a time on it. We didn't get any bonuses because we didn't do any jumps. So that's the encouragement for doing the stage. Let's do this danger zone one. So some of the stages, you'll notice they've got these icons. Some of them give you additional lives. Some of them are sponsor stages with more jumps in them and more things to do. Some of them are just steeper. Or some of them don't have a trail on them, it's just downhill. There's a lot of variation to the different stages as you play through it, to just keep mixing things up and keep it interesting. Because of the single player structure of this as well, even when you die and you have to restart, you don't feel too bitter about it. Like, you obviously want to get to the boss stage, you want to unlock the other environments and progress through the game, but it's so fun at a basic level. When you do get resets, it doesn't bother you too much. It just encourages you to want to do better and play it more. We've got to land 2 360s. There's 1. There's 2. Absolutely on fire, guys. So you see this stage, because it's one of the hot stages, is a much steeper design and a much harder track to actually do than the other levels. Oh my god! Okay, we missed the ramp. Whoa! Totally off stage. Okay, we're so dead. So you notice there. Because if you do try and do big jumps and try and do some of the objectives, it's probably there's a good chance that you might fall off and die. In which case you've lost a life and lost the benefit of getting the extra life from doing it. So there's always that jeopardy of not wanting to make mistakes, and it keeps the pressure up. in some ways capturing the essence of real world mountain biking, where you know you don't want to fall off your mountain bike in real life. So that's the pressure there, and a game obviously can't give you that pressure. So this is probably one of the best ways of doing it in a game format in a way that remains fun. Jesus Christ. We're gonna fail this before even doing 2 or 3 stages. Come on, let's land this. Let's just do a nice little landing here. I'm gonna have to focus a little bit. Focus a little bit here. There we go. Now what's cool is, as I said, the first person view works really well in this. It's one of the few games where the first person view as a mountain bike game actually doesn't feel too bad, because of the field of view and the design of the camera and how you can see where the bike is. There we go. And the actual camera tilt and everything else is one of the few bike games where you can actually ride it in a first person view without it totally crippling and ruining the game. Some of the stages force a first person view because it is more difficult, but for the most part you can just ride in a third person view. I think it is easier for the third person view, but personally I generally prefer the first person view for raw immersion and for raw emulation of real world mountain biking experience. Now here we go. So we've got the crew member screen here. Because we've charged up the crew member bar, we could choose between prevent storm and no path tracks, prevents more places more checkpoints, add more steepness. I'm going to go for the stability, increases the speed at which you can tweak your bike. So we'll go for that. Why not? Let's do this. Let's do this race mode. Go for this. So we build up the crew members, makes it easy to do the boss stage. So in terms of the, I've been a bit too positive. Let's be a bit negative. I'd say the only real negative with this game is that graphically, though I think it does look quite nice, there's not that much variation in terms of the objects on the screen. So there's not that much variation in the trees, the types of grass, the jump obstacles, boulders and things. So it does kind of look a little bit samey from stage to stage in each environment. The different environments actually look drastically different, and that's not a problem. But within the environments themselves, it would have been nice to have a little bit more variation. And the hills in the distance, especially, come on, I didn't get the speed there. The hills in the distance especially look a little bit bland and a little bit lacking in detail. So I'm docking a point for visual fidelity, but to be honest, it's so fun to play. I don't really care. but being objective, the visuals in this aren't exactly the best. I did find putting the depth of field effect on works really good to make the background a bit blurred so you don't notice the crappy hills in the distance so much. And thankfully, because the developers of this aren't stupid, they've actually designed the depth of field effect so that it's mostly just on these replay cameras, and it's blurry at the start, but you notice as soon as you start moving, the blur moves right back into the distance, and so you don't notice the depth of field getting in the way at all. 2 360s, here we go. 1. That was a bad landing. Let's get another one. So I've also on my system I've pumped the graphics up to maximum, but I do have a 1080 Ti. I can't imagine this game being too demanding. Look at that nice little jump there. Totally smooth flow over that. I think most people will be able to run this on pretty high settings, if not near max settings, regardless of what system you've got. Even if you've just got a low-end computer, you might have to turn the AA down, but everything else I think should be okay. Another thing really worth mentioning is the game's soundtrack. It has an absolutely cracking... Oh my god, I do not have the speed for that. Nice reverse cycling there. The game has an absolutely cracking dubstep soundtrack. I think it's got like 7 or so different tracks built into it. But they're all great, and they all go really well with the actual style of game this is and the flow of the game. I've just had to turn it off for this video because... for copyright, I don't want to get copyright to death. There we go, we landed that sideways. Good job, Bob. But the music is top notch in this. So as you saw there when we landed, you'll notice the sort of unrealistic aspect of the physics in this is that it's overly forgiving when you land. I mean, you can land in ways on this where in real life, if you were to land a bike like that, you'd end up with a broken jaw. Personally, I've read some people complaining about the physics, saying, oh, it's a bit sloppy in that regard. Personally, I think it's just a really good compromise in terms of what makes it fun and not annoying to play. You don't want to be just falling off your bike all the time from landing a bit sideways. Maybe I'd agree the game could be a tiny bit more tighter, but as it is, I really love how this handles and plays. Now you notice on this stage that it looks like the African plains. It looks like a bit of Lion King. Look on the hill there. You can see baby Simba, but that's because the game also has like a day-night transit. Oh, we've got to do this. Hang on. We've got to do this stage on full. We've got to hold the throttle down and not let it go to get the extra life, and we need that life for the boss stage. The game has a full day-night cycle, so as you progress through it, it goes to darkness, like watching the news. Your soul goes to darkness, and the lighting looks really nice. I mean, as you can see here, the afternoon light is really great. But also, we'll do a night stage. There'll be 2 dusk stages and there'll be a night stage. You will see that the night stage is proper night, proper darkness, and you also have a nice little bike light. Let's do a front flip. I'll try and do a grab on the next one. The proper it's definitely harder riding at night, but it's harder in a realistic way. Oh Christ! Okay, we're not going to get the extra life. We've lost a life. I'm just going to finish this, finish this stage hopefully. Oh man, I've got to learn. We've got to get better. Let's just shortcut the stage here. Forget the jumps. I haven't got the skill for jumps. The lighting transitions definitely make up, I think, for some of the blandness of the external environment aspect of the game. Here we go. Let's just do the boss stage here. Probably at dusk. Probably not at night. Now, the boss stage is basically just an initial bit of a stage which is quite tricky, followed by an absolutely absurd, totally absurd jump, which is why you need, normally, around about, I would say, probably 6 lives. So, with our 3 lives, we're probably screwed. But, no worries. We'll give it a go anyway. When in doubt, just go for it. Close your eyes and hope for the best. It's not what you want to hear from your taxi driver whilst driving down the motorway. But it works for this game. Here we go. We've got a jump a steam train. This game has trains in it. 10 out of 10. Oh, Christ. And onto the train. There goes the bicycle. Not only did we... oh, okay, he's dead. Not only did we lose the bike, we also lost our life against a train. What a way to go. Right, come on. We've got to get this just right. No, not enough. Oh, we landed it, but that's not going to count. Okay, we're just finishing the boss stage there. We didn't get the extra bonus for... We didn't backflip the boss stage. To be honest, I feel like jumping through a flaming hoop over a steam train and landing on a giant ramp, is impressive enough. I don't really feel like we need to showboat by adding a backflip. But we've completed that. And as you can see, we've now gone to the next environment, which is the forest, which has different ramps and lots of trees, because forests have trees in them. But you'll also notice it's a lot steeper and a fair bit harder. And each different environmental area is progressively harder. So, again, you're going to want to get those lives up. Now, we're using the handbrake here. The handbrake. I'm using the rear brake. I'm just going to call it handbrake. Everything's a car in my mind. Whoa! 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 I've got to do a 720 to get that point. You notice when you're using the brake, the actual physics change in the sense that it's like a real bike where you can sort of slide the back of the bike out on the brake. Super satisfying, really nice attention to detail, and in some ways, rather like a real bicycle. That's what I say, Simcade... Oh, we did not land that. Oh my god, it's so tight, this part of the circuit stage. This is so tight. Oh Christ, come on. We need to get a nice clean jump so I can get a 720, because we've only now got 1 life. Technically we've got 2 lives because you have like an emergency life. We're just going to do this anyway. We'll finish this stage and continue to the next one. But things are getting a bit hairy. There we go, medic camp. We get an extra life anyway if we complete the end of this stage, so we can do the mission and get a life. We've got 2 lives. Happy times. Well, okay, 6 seconds of air. Oh, we should be able to do that quite easy. I'm going to have to... Oh, Christ. So you can pump to land heavier jumps, but there is a limit to what you can land, especially if you don't have the perk. Oh, bugger. All we had to do was get to the end of the stage. Wrecked. So we've got 2 stages there. As you can see, we've got some rep. You build up your character, and sure, we may have dislocated our clavicle. Our spine might be shattered. We might need to go to hospital for 6 months, but it was all worth it because we've unlocked a pink muddy jersey, and that if that doesn't encapsulate mountain biking, I don't know what does. But we build up the stats for the character, which lets you unlock stuff, and you've also got stuff like upgrades to your bicycle. That, you know, you can change the colour of your bike, your different clothing, pick things. No DLC nonsense. It's all in the game. It's all part of the game mechanics. So it's actually just really nice, a little reward to sort of encourage you to go through the stages and just build your character. You feel like you're working towards something. Again, just a really nice gameplay mechanic. Now, I don't want this video to go on too long. We've been wittering way too much because I like this game and I tend to talk too much when I enjoy something. Sorry, but before we go, this game also has multiplayer in it. You can do the tracks and stages with your friends. I've not tested that properly yet, so I can't really talk too much about that. But you can see it in the video on the screen there on the right. We are going to do this on a stream at some point. I've got some keys to give away. When we stream it, we'll give away the keys, and hopefully we could do some bike riding with some subscribers. And I guarantee you guys, if you get this game, you will enjoy it. This is just a must-buy game. There's a Steam sale taking place soon, so just go and pick it up. Go and buy it. Buy this game. Have you got the game yet? You shouldn't have even got this far into the video. I hope you bought it. Make sure you type in the comments, I bought this game. It's the best game ever. You should do. Why not? But there you go. That is guys, Descenders. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. I hope it made you buy the game. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button. And look out for our next live stream. Live stream? Live stream? I don't know how to use words. Happy tea drinking. And goodbye, everybody.